This is episode 2 of Peace Corps Kosovo's podcast. This is our first ever episode recorded in front of a live studio audience. Thank you very much to our dear friends for listening. Our special guest today is Peace Corps Volunteer Linnea Neuber. Linnea, where are you from?
I am from Dallas, Texas, by way of Illinois, and a lot of other places.
Ooh, sounds complicated.
Yeah, you know, my personality.
So what brought you to the Peace Corps?
I have wanted to do the Peace Corps since I was a teenager.
Really?
And I really felt like I needed to leave my hometown. And I have this thing in my personality where I need to move every 2 years. And when I found out that the Peace Corps was a 2-year thing, I was like, is it for me? Absolutely.
So you decided you wanted to do Peace Corps when you were pretty young.
I was, yeah, definitely like around 17. Actually, the story of it is that I looked it up online, and my mother bought me this book, and I had read all these Peace Corps stories, and I was like, this is for me. I am into this. And at the time, I was a private tutor for this girl in the 5th grade, and I went to her house, and I told her mother, and she was like, no,
Why?
you cannot. And I was like, listen, I am a free spirit. I am like a bird, and this is how I have to live my life. And she was so against it, against the fact that a person would leave their family and go across, I don't know, wherever in the world. Mm-hmm. And that just made me want to do it more.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that about you, Linnea. Well, there are so many reasons why I really wanted to interview you for the podcast. I mean, this podcast is just getting started, and we have a wide audience. You know, we have future Peace Corps volunteers, we have fellow Peace Corps volunteers who are listening, we have host country nationals here in Kosovo who are listening. But I think what I love about you and what you bring to the Peace Corps is that you are a very introspective person, and you're really good at acknowledging the effect that the Peace Corps experience has on both yourself and those around you. And you were kind of like a rock star at the pre-service training this past summer. What were you doing at pre-service training this past summer?
I participated in a resiliency panel, and for the resiliency panel, it was more of understanding that even though Peace Corps can be difficult, that you have coping mechanisms and that you develop healthy ways to get through your service.
So what does resiliency mean to you?
Personally, I believe that resiliency is being able to ask for help when you need it, and also being able to recognize a situation for its growth opportunity and not necessarily victimize yourself.
How have you used the resiliency skills that you shared in the pre-service training, and what kind of advice were you giving the incoming volunteers?
I told them that when you need to set boundaries with your host family, that say your host mom wants you to serve coffee. If you don't want to serve coffee and you feel like she won't take no for an answer, just spill it. Just spill it. God bim. She doesn't want you to do it anymore. Why? Because there's a reputation. There's a reputation in the village, and she's trying to keep that reputation. And, just skirt around it. It's okay. Things like that, or things like, I have a quote book that I look at, especially at that time, that I look at where I have put in all of these things about perseverance and, just keeping up with myself and checking in with myself every 3 months to make sure that I'm on a good level and things like that.
And maybe people don't know, but part of our Peace Corps service, and what can sometimes be a really challenging part of our service, is living with the host family. Because, and this is not how every Peace Corps country operates, but we here in Kosovo do spend most of our time living in a host family situation. And so when you said gabim, that's Albanian for mistake, by the way. That's a really interesting piece of advice, because you're really keyed into the culture here. And so I think it's demonstrating that your resiliency is really grounded in the context of Kosovo, and you're coming up with strategies that work here. I mean, that would work.
Absolutely.
I can see that work.
My host mom has never let me touch, like, the kettle. Like, if there are guests over, she's like, absolutely not. You need to go sit down because you're going to burn this house down. There's definitely no way that she would ever let me.
I think that was a hit with the audience.
I think that was a hit. Oh, definitely, she would never. My sister just came to visit, and my sister made
Your
tacos.
actual
my
sister.
actual sister.
Okay, not a host sister.
No, and she came to visit my host family, and she made them tacos,
Aww,
and I
that's really sweet.
I cut up cheese and onions, and my host mom was like, Linnea, do you know how to do this? Like, should I teach you how to use a knife? And I was like, maybe I have taken this too far. Like, maybe I've taken the gaboom a little too far, but
gosh.
yeah.
No, but it worked for you. What other resiliency strategies have worked for you in your service?
Definitely just letting, like, the embarrassment, like, you are every day you are an embarrassment. Like, it's very difficult, I think, when you come in to understand that it's okay to make mistakes and that people will make fun of you, like today, and that people make fun of you and that it's fine, and just, like, let it wash over you.
Right.
Actually, after this resiliency panel, I had gone to a taking of the bride ceremony, which of course is like when the groom, an Albanian groom, goes to get his bride from her family. And I had been there for the party in the, like, I guess, the garden area of a house, and they had rolled out a red carpet for the bride, which, by the way, okay, first I went in to see the bride, sat on her dress, almost killed her.
Oh my god.
They were like, oh, Linnea, like, she's like falling over, and her little veil was coming off, and I was like, oh my god, I literally almost ruined your life. And then after I took a picture with her, we went out and we valeted, or we, like, danced in a circle for an hour, and my legs were killing me because it was like up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill, and somehow we got around a tree. So we were just circling around a tree.
Yeah, it's a traditional Albanian dance where you are kind of just going in a circle for a very long time.
Spiral.
Really. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so
get a little dizzy sometimes.
Yeah. After this 1 hour, I was like, I got to take a break because I'm about to die. And
Naturally.
I backed out. I was doing great. They rolled out the red carpet. I tripped over the red carpet. Number one. Tripped over it one time. No big deal. Everybody's like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And then I went to sit down, and my host mom called me to come, and I got up, tripped over it another time. And then she was like, okay, everything's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody saw you. And I was like, they saw me. All right.
They probably filmed it.
Literally, whole village is here, but yeah, nobody saw me. And then as we were walking backwards, they had moved it because they were trying to help. They're trying to help me. No, I ripped it. I killed it.
No.
I killed the red carpet, and the only good thing that came out of it was that the bride didn't want to walk down it anyway.
There you go. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, the village talked about that for like 6 months, though.
There are a lot of embarrassing moments that come along with this experience.
Yeah.
Just because of, like, the cultural differences, language differences are a huge thing. Those experiences are just, like, so much a part of the Peace Corps experience. What do you think, like, future Peace Corps volunteers, what should they know? Like, how can they prepare for that? Is there a way to prepare for that?
I think you just need to let it go.
Let it go.
Like when you come, it's very difficult. Well, as an American, you come as an individual with a lot of pride.
Yeah.
And once you are immersed in a collectivistic culture, you realize that, one, you are no longer an individual. That's not a thing. And now you have to kind of release your pride and just get over it, because otherwise you are not going to thrive. You will have a very hard time living within your cultural context if you don't just get over yourself and over your own need to be the best or better or be respected in a situation. Like, they're going to make fun of you until they get over it. And then at that point, they're just like, that's our American, and, like, that's our boo.
I often say, like, I didn't come here to live an American lifestyle. Like, you come here and you really have to adjust. And it's in ways that you expect, like learning a new language. And it's also in ways that you don't expect.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And all of that is really just part of this experience that is so hard to describe sometimes. Maybe not in spite of, maybe even because of some of these like silly moments that we're talking about, those embarrassing moments that do eventually become sort of funny memories that we share. The Peace Corps is full of ups and downs. And actually when we're in training, they give us this cycle of vulnerability and adjustment to follow, because there are like globally, Peace Corps wide,
the global trends.
Yeah, these trends and the ups and downs in service. So where are you right now? Are you at a high, a low?
I am peaking.
Oh, that's great.
I have 83 days left and I'm ready. I have no problems. I recently went to a training and we had to do like a coaching session where we talked about our problems with another human, you know, to kind of get it out, vent about it. It wasn't supposed to be solution based, but more of like, how do you think you're going to be able to handle that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I have no problems. So if we could just move right along, that would be great, because I'm killing it right now.
So you're feeling good.
I feel great.
You're feeling free.
I'm excited. Yes. Maybe. Okay.
Not, maybe free is the wrong word. You're feeling good. Let's just leave it at that. You're feeling great.
Good. Yeah.
So this is like a good time to ask you, what has been the most rewarding part of your service? It's not over yet, but what has been the most rewarding part so far?
Okay, this might sound minuscule, but the most rewarding part of my service is my host brothers, who I love so much.
How old are they?
My little brothers are, one is about to turn 15.
Oh dear. Okay.
Okay. One is about to turn 11. 12.
Okay.
One's about to turn 12. And then the last one in November will turn 11.
Aww.
Yeah, he is very cute. He's super cute. Like, everybody is super cute. What I really love about them is that when I first got there, they were all struggling in English. Like, not in grades. They all had 5s, but they didn't speak. And
a 5 is like an A, A plus.
And they have slowly gained so much confidence in English, and a little, you know, maybe too much confidence, because now they're roasting me in English.
Oh, no.
They are straight roasting me. They've adopted, I always say I'm killing it, and they've adopted this, and now they're just saying this on the battlefield.
They say that?
They're like out playing football, and they're like, hey, I'm killing it. I'm like, calm down.
I love
maybe
that.
We shouldn't. Yeah.
They do pick, like, I only have one little host brother, and he has picked up some of my mannerisms. And the neighborhood kids have too.
Yeah.
They're like, hey guys, how you doing? Because James and I always say, hey guys, how are you doing? And now they say it back to us, and it's really cute.
That's adorable.
But your host, I mean, that's 3 little kids who's, like, English you have informally affected.
In the very beginning.
That's not minuscule. Like, I would say that's a really big accomplishment.
It feels good, but in the very beginning, the middle one, who is going to turn 12, he wouldn't even talk to me.
Was he just embarrassed about his English?
I'm not really sure. Like, I think he just wasn't confident. And now he like tells me stories about life. He's incredible, and he loves dogs. Oh, another thing that we've done together is that we now have a dog, and I've taught them how to treat dogs, feed dogs correctly. They're still catching on. Like, they're still just maybe sometimes yelling at the dog. But other than
dog
that,
ownership is not common here.
Absolutely.
So.
And once we got a dog and the parents started to kind of accept it, almost every single child in our neighborhood has a dog now.
That is how many dogs there are. Every child in this country could have a dog.
Absolutely.
If they wanted. And they should.
Absolutely.
Because they're the best.
And I think that when it comes down to it, if my only contribution to Kosovo is that this little village is taking good care of dogs, Ani, I like it. I'm okay with it.
Ani, that means okay. I love it. That's a great accomplishment. Linnea, what is your favorite thing about Kosovo?
My favorite thing about Kosovo is, I think, just the way that people interact with each other in like a professional setting and also in an informal setting. But I think they kind of connect, like bus drivers. I love bus drivers so much because they're so funny. I have been on buses where like we pulled over to pick up their lunch, or like we pulled over to pick up their best friend's package from Aviva Fresh. And I love the fact that like they're so accommodating. They wait for me. They know who is riding what bus. Like they're just so focused on the people that they see every day.
They really are.
Yeah, collectivism, whatever. But it's so maybe sometimes frustrating because, okay, I need to go places and we just pulled over for your nephew's package to get delivered. But also I really respect it and I think it's great.
Have you ever been on a bus where they hand out little snacks?
Absolutely. Only to the bus though.
Oh,
y'all got that. That's a thing.
That is a thing here.
That is a thing for Peja, well, we didn't get one for Jakova, but...
So we're in the western part of Kosovo right now, and it is very common if I'm taking a bus back from the capital, Pristina, almost every time, the person who comes around and collects money, he'll hand out little snacks.
Little banana creams.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, sometimes hey-hays, which are really delicious. Little crackers with like caramel and chocolate. Oh, they're so I love when they give out hey-hays.
That's nice. Also to Prizren, I think, as well, right?
Oh, Southwest. There's a bus in Prizren that I hear gives out coffee.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can I be on that bus today?
Has anyone else heard of this?
No.
Yes, Courtney has heard of it.
Okay,
so
Western
it's
people.
on like it's the earliest bus that they have to give out coffee. Because it's like maybe like 5:30 or 6 in the morning.
Could be me. I'm going to get on that one next time.
Yeah.
From Prizren to Pristina.
I'm not positive. We'll research this. But yeah.
I'm going to find them.
So buses are, maybe people who are listening don't exactly know, but like we are talking about coach-style buses. And that is our main mode of transportation. As Peace Corps volunteers, we're not allowed to drive. Sometimes people may give us rides places, but, diesel is very expensive, and the main mode of transportation for most Peace Corps volunteers is the bus, I would say.
Yeah, what else are we going to do?
Yeah, what else are we going to do?
Ride our bike?
Walk? Ride our bike with our helmet. But yeah, so I think we get to know those bus drivers, and I think they get to know us, and I do think they care a lot about the people that they're driving around. That's an awesome favorite thing about Kosovo. What's next, Linnea? What is next for you? So you have to move every 2 years. This works for you.
Yes.
Okay. Next 2 years, where are you going to be?
I am going to go to grad school at American University for public policy. I'm so excited about it.
Congratulations.
Yes, I get to move to Washington, D.C., which is like apparently such a great place. And I am really excited about, living within an international community that's super diverse. I'm really ready for that. And I'm just excited to keep going in my life.
I am so excited for you. Graduate school, you're going to love it. You're going to hate it. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry.
Peace Corps.
Yeah, just like the Peace Corps. Yeah. Maybe not as many embarrassing stories. Definitely not as many embarrassing stories.
I think for me there will be.
Linnea.
No, absolutely. There will be. For sure. Everything's a story.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Welcome to our first guest questioner. Yay!
First of all, thank you so much for letting me be here, Linnea. It's really nice hearing you talk about your service. My question for you is, as you approach COS, what are you feeling? What are these emotions that you're experiencing as you come to the close of your service?
I would say that I am very excited and also nervous for reintegration.
Of course.
I really feel like I have been observing RPCVs for over 2 years.
RPCVs being Returned to Peace Corps Volunteers.
And I really feel like Peace Corps is worth it because once you see COS and you are able to
close out your service.
Yes, you close out your service and you're able to go back to your, as Melinda would say, civilian life. kind of are faced with a retrospection
Yeah.
of your service. And in that you get something that I call euphoric amnesia. Which
Euphoric amnesia.
I
Trademark that.
trademark TM real quick. Euphoric amnesia. I think that it's kind of like giving birth. I've never given birth, so how would I know? But in my head, a lot of my friends have given birth, and they've always told me that at the end of the process, all the pain, all you get are endorphins from the accomplishment. Your body just floods with endorphins, and that is biological to make you have more children.
Right. Just forget all that pain.
To forget all the
about
pain.
it.
And like many mothers, not all mothers, but many mothers later on will be like, I honestly can't even remember birth. Or like,
My sisters say stuff like that.
it's real. It's
Yes.
fully real. And they're like, I honestly can't even remember the last part of my pregnancy or things like that.
They're like, you just do it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not even a big deal, you know? And it's because they have been flooded with endorphins at the end. And that's how I feel Peace Corps is. When you have your close of service and you're later on talking about your service, you kind of forget all of the hardships you went through and you remember the lessons you learned or the growth that you had or the things that you did. When I was originally applying to Peace Corps, my boss, who's a director of libraries in Texas, she was like, I served in Cape Verde, I think, and you cry a lot, but like it's so worth it, and maybe you'll cry every night, but then at the end you'll be like, these are tears of joy.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I was like, she's crazy. But now that I am almost done and I'm really I feel like it's hitting me. I'm like starting to look around, like I've been doing the most for 2 years and I feel really good about it. And I know that when I go home, I'm going to be like, maybe I struggled and laid on my bed all the time. Like, what am I doing here? But I made it through, and the euphoria of that accomplishment overtakes anything else that I have gone through in order to get there. I don't know if that's true about people who go through serious issues in Peace Corps, but my service has been relatively, smooth. And I definitely think that I will have that for sure. And our American staff definitely has it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Euphoric amnesia. I mean, I think it applies even now. I mean, we haven't closed our service out. So Linnea and I arrived in country at the same time. So we're closing our service out at the same time. The thing is, I think that even applies when I look back at our pre-service training, which I know was very intense and very stressful. But I look back on those times and I think of such joy. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was wild. Like, we didn't know what was happening one day to the next.
Like
it was
being
so
in a zoo.
exciting. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. It was a wild ride.
You really didn't know anything about your life. You had
No
real
clue.
control because your host family was like, well, we need to go here and you have to come with us, and you don't understand what I'm
and
saying,
you don't understand
but you're getting
anything.
in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are literally just a passenger in this wild ride that is Peace Corps.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's something very freeing about that. So I even have a little bit of euphoric amnesia about pre-service training, which I know was a super stressful time, but I can't recall that at all.
Yeah, you're so right. What I
Fascinating.
recall from PST pre-service training is that I lived. I made it through. I remember the heat, and I remember the long days, and I remember being nervous, but that's it. I don't feel any of the old emotions anymore. It's mostly just accomplishment.
Accomplishment, yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's been such a joy to talk to you, Linnea. Is there any other questions from our audience?
Hi, Linnea.
Hi.
I really enjoyed your show today. My question is,
Yes, ma'am.
what advice would you give to a future Peace Corps volunteer or someone who knows that they're about to set off to their volunteer destination?
Yeah, of course. What's your name?
My name's Courtney.
Oh, thank you, Courtney. That's a great question. Thank you so much. I think that the first part of it is definitely just be prepared to leave your expectations in the airport. All of your expectations,
I'm applauding that.
they don't matter.
No expectations.
Whatever you think you're going to do, you are probably not going to do it. That does not mean that you will not accomplish. You know, you're definitely going to accomplish things, but what you set out to accomplish might not be what your community wants, or it just might not be what is needed at the time. And honestly, it's much more useful for you to go with the flow of your community than for you to fight against a current. And I also believe, you know, I think the second part of this is like not just leaving your expectations, but also realizing that every day is like a new day for some sort of small goal that's going to get you through your service. The more small goals that you set, the faster your service will go. And if you're just thinking of it as 27 months, actually, another person had said this during the training. If you are thinking of it as 27 months, it's going to be very difficult for you to get through this huge chunk of time. But if you're thinking of it like vacation to vacation, small event to small event, meeting to meeting, you know, if you're thinking about it day to day, then one day you're just going to wake up and you're leaving.
In 83 days.
In 83 days.
It's wild.
As I'm peaking right now.
Something else.
Days are long, but the weeks are short. I learned that from Jessica, who's a K3, who's a third generation Peace Corps volunteer in Kosovo. She always told me that the days are long, but the weeks are short. And if you make it through each week doing something productive, you will make it through your service having done something productive.
Thank you. That's good advice for all of us.
Yeah.
Even with 83 days left to go, we...
Absolutely. Getting through these next 83 days, even though I feel really great, and I'm also sad because leaving Kosovo is difficult, 2 years of your life.
It's going to be sad to say some goodbyes.
Absolutely. But just knowing that you have goals to reach until then, you know, it's going to get you through getting out and also get you through the feelings that you're going to have as you're leaving.
Now, I want some advice too. Like, you can't save all this wisdom for these incoming Peace Corps volunteers. Like, I'm in your boat. I mean, I'm out of here in 83 days, but I'm a little scared of the transition. I don't know about you. I mean, reintegration, sort of getting back on my feet, so to speak, in the American work culture environment, which is really different from the environment here. And there's something really, there's something really wonderful about the Peace Corps lifestyle. Like, we have a built-in community. We have a very clear-cut purpose. And that's not always something that you get when you're...
Right, your primary project is very clear-cut. Absolutely.
So our primary project, we're teachers. And we're in a community that's wonderful. We have not just a community of volunteers, but also like the communities in which we live. And so so you are headed off to grad school. Very exciting. What advice would you give to your fellow Peace Corps volunteers who maybe we don't know exactly what is next for us? Like, what do you think we can do? Give us some advice for our resiliency. How can we be resilient in this transition?
I think it depends on your personality, but definitely, well, a lot of people are traveling, but then once you get home and you're done with traveling and I've been in this position where I have come home from like a year of backpacking and a year of studying abroad and backpacking, and I'm like, what am I doing? How am I supposed to live? I need money. I need, and also transitioning from being in Europe or wherever back to an American life. I definitely think filling your days, not allowing yourself to just lay on the couch and mope about it, and also not being afraid to apply for positions, like job positions that you feel you are not qualified for. You are always qualified. You'd be surprised what you can do as a human. Like, self-efficacy or self-belief is like 80% of the battle, and if you believe that you can do it and you can convince that person you can do it, like, you should absolutely apply to that. And I think that's a big deal for people who are trying to go for jobs and they're afraid that they won't be qualified for something or that they won't get a job quickly. Just apply. Just keep applying. And set a routine for yourself. Maybe not necessarily every single day you wake up at this specific time, but maybe every day you're doing something that gets you out of the house, out of your bed. I think that's really important. And also just visiting with your friends and family to kind of get back into the American lifestyle. Don't isolate yourself. It's really necessary. I chose to do grad school right after because I know myself and I knew that I needed to jump right into something.
Mm-hmm.
It's really necessary for me.
That is very good advice, and I thank you for that. Thank you for joining me on this, what I think is the best second podcast episode we've ever had in Peace Corps Kosovo.
Second podcast episode.
Well,
Thank you. Will I go down in history? Do I get an Oscar?
Absolutely.
Are you going to carve the Oscar?
Yes. I do have a cupcake with your name on it. Say thank you for sharing your wise words.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you to our studio audience for their wonderful questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Till next time.